What's up, horror fam? Welcome back to the channel. So for today's episode, we have some additional casting news to share with you on Scream 7. We have some first look images at Megan 2.0, the sequel that will be coming out in 2025. And we have confirmation of some very good news for us that are 28 Days Later fans. So let's get into it. The Fabelmans actor Sam Rechner joins the Scream 7 cast. The casting news for Scream 7 continues this week, with Deadline reporting over the weekend that Sam Rechner has signed on to star in the Spyglass sequel. Deadline notes no word on the character he is playing. Sam Rechner played Logan Hale in Steven Spielberg's The Fabelmans, a high school bully who targets the main character. He also starred in the TV series Heartbreak High. The cast for Scream 7 also thus far includes, which we have already heard about, which is Neve Campbell, Celeste O'Connor, McKenna Grace, Asa Gurman, and Isabel May. Now, we do know, obviously, who Neve Campbell will be playing. We know who Isabel May will be playing. She'll be playing Sidney Prescott's daughter, which is being played by Neve Campbell. Now, the only two castings that we have yet to get any confirmation on, or are still kind of in the talks, is Courtney Cox returning as Gale Weathers. So the only casting choice that's still outstanding is Patrick Dempsey coming back as the police officer Kincaid. We know, or are led to believe, that him and Sidney, somewhere between the sequels, got married, had a daughter. Now, there again has been talks of him coming back for this one, but the latest I've heard on this casting is he hasn't signed on yet. There's some disputes around the finances on what he would be paid to come back and play the part. Now, this is very reminiscent of what we saw with Neve Campbell when she didn't return because of contract negotiations breaking down. She felt she was worth a lot more than they were willing to pay her. Rightfully so. She's been the star of this franchise since the very beginning. She obviously wasn't in all of them, which was when she stepped away, and then is now coming back. Now, Patrick Dempsey's character was only in one of the sequels, so whether or not he's really necessary is yet to be determined. But if you're going to have Isabel May playing Sidney Prescott's daughter in this, so it only makes sense that if Neve Campbell's character and Dempsey's character did get married and had a child, which is being played by Isabel May, that you bring him back, unless somehow you're going to write him off screen to where he was killed somehow, maybe in the line of duty, or that they've gotten divorced. Seeing how he did play a pivotal role in the sequel that he was in, so does it make sense to bring him back? Maybe. It just depends upon the story that they're trying to tell in Scream 7. Would I like to see him come back? Obviously I would, especially if this might be Neve Campbell's last go around with the character, whether they give her a clean sign off to let her kind of ride off into the sunset, or they decide to finally kill her off. Regardless though, I think this might need to be the end for this character, as along with Gale Weathers. I don't necessarily think we need to have Courtney Cox to continue coming back. I was happy. I was probably one of the few happy to see Dewey get killed off, so I am okay with Courtney Cox's character getting killed off as well. Neve Campbell, again, because she's the focal point, she's been the highlight of the series since the beginning, it might make sense just to give her a bow. Don't kill her off, let her kind of fade off into the sunset. And if you decide to continue with this franchise, try to continue with it focusing on a completely different set of characters, or let it sit on the shelf for a few years, maybe 5-10 years, and then do a complete reboot if you feel to keep going with this. Otherwise, I think anything beyond 7 films might be pushing it a bit much. We will let you all know when we find out whether or not Patrick Dempsey will be coming back, and as soon as we get confirmation that Courtney Cox is, again, she's expected to come back, but whether or not she actually does, we'll have to wait and see. But once we get that final confirmation, we'll be sure to bring it to you all. All right, so jumping into our next topic, Megan 2.0 first images from next year's Killer Doll sequel. The viral and box office success of Blumhouse's Megan back in 2022 ensured that a sequel wouldn't be far behind, and the Killer Doll's return is now a mere 6 months away, with Megan 2.0 headed to theaters on June 27th, 2025. Entertainment Weekly has shared 2 first look images from the upcoming Blumhouse horror sequel this morning. So we just scroll down here. What I'm passing right now is all the casting, characters, things of that nature. So we have this first image here, and then we have the doll here. The second image looks just as creepy as the original. So I'm excited for this one. I'll be glad that we're getting this one. Again, you know me, and I've said this before, when it comes to sequels, if you can keep it pretty in line with the original, then I'm all for it. But if it completely goes off base and goes out into left field, where it feels like it's not even a true sequel or has nothing to do with the first one. That's where I think it can tend to get a bit much and a bit out there. I'm glad we're starting to get these first looks at this film, especially since we're only 6 months away. I would expect we're probably going to get a teaser trailer or a trailer probably after the first of the year, I would expect, especially since, again, 6 months is not that far away when you think about it in the scheme of everything. June 27th, 2025, you would want them to start getting people excited for this film since it's going to be a summer film coming out. So I would guess probably we'll probably get our first teaser in February, and more than likely March, April timeframe, we'll start getting that first trailer, more behind the scenes look, and posters to go along with it. So keep an eye out for this one, and we'll make sure to do a trailer review and reaction once it's available. Right into our final topic. It's gonna be a quick episode today. I think this is great news. This is exciting news for many of us who are fans of this original film. So 28 Days Later finally returns to digital this week. With 28 years later kickstarting a brand new trilogy of movies next year, many horror fans have been wondering why the hell they can't watch Danny Boyle's 28 Days Later at home. Physical media copies of influential infection horror movie have been out of print for some time now, and the 2002 movie has been unavailable digitally to stream in any capacity. In other words, you literally haven't been able to legally watch 28 Days Later at home without owning a physical copy of the movie, posing a huge problem for those who do not. Thankfully, Sony has stepped in to resolve this issue. They've announced this morning that the original 28 Days Later is coming to digital just in time for the release of sequel 28 Years Later. You'll be able to rent or purchase 28 Days Later on digital starting December 18th, 2024. I fortunately have a physical copy of this film and the 28 Weeks Later film. I happened to have bought them when they first came out, and I bought them just as a casual horror fan at the time, didn't think nothing of it. Now, as the years have gone on, when I started to learn how various films do go out of print and then it is hard to find them, this is one of those. Again, as I mentioned, has been out of print for quite some time, and it came down to a licensing issue with Sony, another studio that is now actually owned by Disney. I'm glad that we're going to be getting this. I just hope that there's something that can happen to bring back a physical copy for this film as well. Maybe they'll do a trilogy box set, because this new film is supposed to be the third film of the original two films and then the kickoff of the new trilogy. So hopefully they might do a box set of these three films to where we can get the physical copy of 28 Days Later back. Because if you go on eBay right now, if that's the one place you try to look at, or even Amazon, you're going to spend easily anywhere between $90 to $150 for a used physical copy. And buying used, you're definitely taking a risk there, because you don't know how good in condition the disc is going to be in. So you could get 3/4 of the way through this film and all of a sudden it starts to skip. It becomes non-playable because it's scratched or has a fine nick somewhere that you're just not going to see it. And spending that kind of money for something, you want to try and get it either mint condition or even unopened. But if you can find an unopened copy, physical copy of 28 Days Later, I can imagine you're probably going to spend anywhere between $150 up for that. So if you're willing to bite the bullet and not just rely on digital and you want that physical copy, you're going to have to pay a pretty penny for it for now, unless again they happen to bring it out again when 28 Years Later does hit the theaters. It'll probably be more likely if we do see a physical copy, it wouldn't be until 28 Years Later makes its physical debut as well, which again, that just depends upon if they're going to really consider it part of the original two, or just keep it with this new trilogy. And then when this new trilogy gets released, then start releasing out physical copies and then a potential box set. So I am a proponent of digital, especially when the physical copies are not available and you can't purchase them. I'm not going to spend $150 on a used copy of a physical movie. So I will be buying this one on Wednesday just so I can have it as part of my digital catalog, so I can watch it whenever I want. Even though I do have the Blu-ray copy of it, again, it's having that ability to kind of just take it anywhere with you so you can watch it whenever you want. So, all right, everyone, that's going to do it for today's episode. Like I said, it was a pretty quick one, just some general updates of what's going on right now in the horror space today. If you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It does help us out a lot. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think about the latest casting for Scream 7. Are you looking forward to Megan 2.0 going into next year's summertime? And are you going to be purchasing yourself a digital copy of 28 Days Later? And also, I just want to extend out a thank you to all the new subscribers to the channel. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you for all the support, and we will continue to do our best here at Reign of Horror. Until next time, we'll see you then. Peace.